explained some stuff to me and went through some information. And so I, talking to him, did a little extra research. I came up with 3 reasons why you see bluing on the inside of this leather and it's not a big deal. So the first reason is that, like we saw in the white sneaker series with the white leather, they leave the core of that leather blue, and part of that is so they get that white, bright color, because if you dyed it a different color, you'd be covering up with white, and it wouldn't look as brilliant. So with this leather, where you've got the really light undertones, or that pull-up when you bend the leather or use the leather, you wouldn't have that same bright effect if the core of the leather was dyed a darker color, like you see in like a Chrome XL or some of the other colors that are dyed all the way through. You could still get that effect, it just wouldn't be as distinct and as light of a pull-up. The second reason is SB Foot told me that this is a heritage style boot, and so he wanted to use the heritage style tanning process, or the tannage. So this is the exact same way they tanned this leather that they did back in the day. And so they wanted to retain that same look, that same feel, and that exact same tannage, because it's a heritage style boot. So I thought that was kind of cool. And the third reason goes really far down the leather rabbit hole. And my AC went out today, so it's hot in here with all these lights. But let me read you what they said. So I was in my office editing, and I bored myself listening to myself read through that. So I'm just going to put it here, and you can read through it, pause it, and read through it if you want. But I also wanted to show you guys some samples I got from Horween that might give a little more context to the bluing on this leather and why they left it blue. So the first one I want to show you is the Chrome XL, or the natural Chrome XL. So this is a chrome tan leather that's retanned all the way through, so you don't see any of the bluing. It's not dyed necessarily, but it's a darker color because they infuse so many oils and fats and other things inside of this leather that it gives it a darker shade. And then I've got a Rio Latigo sample from Horween again that has bluing on the inside, and I think part of the reason they leave that bluing is to keep those really light undertones and highlights in this leather, because I think if it was dyed all the way through, I don't think you could get quite as bright of a leather without that bluing on the inside. So, but you can get that bright of a leather in a vegetable tan leather. So a lot of times people, when they see this leather, would assume it's a veg tan leather because of the color. So hopefully that adds some context. Now I'll get back to the video, and I'll get back to editing. So I think it's still a high quality leather, and it's just like, leather's so hard to make general rules about because there's so many different types of leather. But after wearing this leather for a long time and all the research I did, I wouldn't have any concerns with the longevity or the quality of this leather. It's just an old school tannage, and it's an old school leather, so they kept it on their old school boots. So as for wearing these boots, so I did wear these boots around for a solid 2 weeks straight, and these are a monster to break in. These are some of the hardest boots that I've ever had to break in. Like, this tongue is, the first time I laced it up, I couldn't even get it tight enough because that tongue was so stiff. And what I did is I put a ton of mink oil on there to loosen that tongue up and get it nice and supple, which made it significantly easier to break in. But as you can see from this dark area here, it bled into the rest of the leather, kind of causing that shadow on there. So if you don't want that, don't put tons of mink oil on there like I did. You could use some Chamberlain leather milk. That's a really good conditioner that isn't going to change the color of your leather very much. So if you're going to do that, use a really light conditioner. Otherwise you'll get a dark color. And if you don't care about the dark color, do it. It makes it a lot easier to break these in. Now moving to the inside of the boot. So this boot has a leather insole. It's a full vegetable tan leather insole, which I'm a huge fan of, because it doesn't sneak as fast or as much, and it breaks into the shape of your foot and is a lot more durable and long-lasting than like a fiberboard or some of the other materials people put in boots. The next thing I noticed was how far up this tongue is gusseted. But as you can see, the tongue goes all the way up to the second eyelet. That's part of the reason why these are so hard to break in, but it also helps keep keep dirt and water out of your boots. And these boots aren't waterproof, but they are water resistant, and having that tongue gusseted so high helps prevent any water from sneaking between the upper and the tongue. Another thing I didn't notice or didn't know until I actually got these in hand is these are built in a more traditional moccasin way, where this top piece of leather and this piece that wraps around are two separate pieces. A lot of times you'll see this all be one single piece. I don't think it really matters one way or the other, but I thought it was worth noting because I didn't notice it. Next thing is this Puritan Stitch on the side here. So this Puritan Stitch is a really interesting stitch, and boot companies use it on areas that have a lot of stress and a lot of movement, because it's a lot more durable stitch when it comes to pulling and movement. And what's interesting about this stitch is they stitch these with the same machines that they probably stitched these boots originally with, because the machines they use are called a Puritan Stitch machine, and it has 3 needles and stitches all 3 of these thread lines at the same time. And it also, there's so many cool things about this. It also pulls the thread through a little vat of liquid wax, and you can see just a little bit of that shine of the wax on top of there still. And those machines are like 100 years old. There's only a few people that know how to maintain them and keep them going. It's really cool that they're using machines that are almost 100 years old to still make boots that people are wearing 50 years after they introduced these boots, or 70 years. Next is the construction. So this is a 360 Goodyear welted constructed boot, which basically means this welt stitch goes all the way around the boot. And if you're not familiar with what a welt is, it's just a strip of leather that goes all the way around the boot that is sewn to the upper of the boot and also sewn to the next layer down in the boot. And you almost can't see the next layer down, but it's a harder rubber layer just below the welt that is then glued to this crepe outsole that Red Wing makes. But what's even better about this particular style of boot is that Goodyear welt stitch doesn't go all the way through the boot. So when this outsole wears out, all the cobbler has to do is literally just peel this old outsole away and glue a new one on. And as long as the rest of the boot's in good condition, that's all you have to do to resole it. And that's really important for this style of outsole because these crepe outsoles are really, really comfortable, but they wear out so fast. And so it makes it a lot easier, a lot faster to resole, and you can even do it from home if you have most of the right equipment. Now finally, what's on the inside of this boot? Red Wing's not shy about sharing what's inside of their boots, and we know there's a cork layer on the inside, and the cork layer is just a filler layer that molds to the shape of your foot over time. And so with that layer insole and the cork, after you wear these for a while, you'll basically have a footprint inside of your boot, kind of like when you were a kid and you'd go find some wet cement and put your hand in it, you'd have that footprint or that handprint. Same thing inside of these boots. Now let's cut this thing open after we talk about the sponsor of the video, which is Purple. So some of you guys might remember when I moved the shop down here to Salt Lake, me and Toaster were stuck living out of the office and sleeping on a $20 mattress I got from the local thrift store. And it was a really stark reminder of how important quality sleep on a quality mattress is for me. Because once I finally got my apartment and got my mattress down here, the amount of productivity and energy I had was night and day difference. But when it comes to doing a sponsored video for Purple, they're about as easy as it gets. There's really 3 things that make them different and make them stand out to me. The first one is that Purple grid that everyone knows Purple for. It really cuts down on pressure points. So like if I'm sleeping on a crappy mattress, my entire hip will go numb halfway through the night. And the second one is it keeps really cool and it doesn't get that swampy feel like you feel in some mattresses because first you got that Purple grid that keeps it cool, and it also has 2,500 air channels that make the mattress a lot more breathable. And the third one is it's made out of high quality materials here in the United States, which I'm a huge fan of. So you should consider buying a Purple mattress for the same reasons we buy high quality boots, because quality matters, you get what you pay for, and like that old saying goes, invest in your bed and in your boots, because if you're not in one, you're in the other. So thanks to Purple for sponsoring this video, and check out their mattress via the link in my description. Now it's time to cut these open, and I don't want to do it, but I really want to show you guys what that foot imprint looks like, and I want to leave more sizes open for the giveaway. So I just really got these broken in. And I really love these boots, so whatever, let's get to it.
Ouais, c'est là.
All right, we got it cut in half. Let's see what's inside. So I thought that was really cool to see my footprint in this boot so fast. You know, it's only been a couple weeks, and it was actually more of a footprint than I expected. But if you saw when I was in that cutting footage, you can see exactly where my foot broke into that shoe and where that leather started to compress and that cork layer started to compress, so I have that footprint in there. I thought that was kind of a cool little thing. It's kind of gross, but also kind of cool. So now let's go through the layers, starting with the outsole, working our way up. So this is that crepe, really soft, Christie style outsole. Then above that is that little layer I was talking about that the sole is glued to. And above that is the cork layer. And then above that is the leather insole. The insole is really thick. I wasn't expecting it to be that thick. That's a really thick piece of leather. And then from there we've got the leather counter and a little bit of a liner at the forefront of the boot, a little bit of a toe stiffener, thermoplastic at the toe, and that's pretty much it. You know, there's not a whole lot to this boot. It's a really simple construction, but a really effective construction. There's a reason that Goodyear welted boots and mock toe boots have been around for forever. They're a really solid construction. So now, what do I think of this boot, or what's my overall review of this boot? I was a little bit concerned coming into this that the leather insole is going to be thin and that there wouldn't be much cork filling. But as you can see, that's a big old chunk of leather, and there's a good amount of cork filling in there. So I'm pleasantly surprised by this boot. You know, this is a boot that I've been wanting for years, and I forgot to talk about the leather thickness. But the leather thickness is 2.5 to 2.3 millimeters. So good, thick leather, long-lasting leather. So overall, I think it's a really great boot, but we don't really have anything else to compare it to, and that's why I like doing these series. Is I can tell you this is a good priced boot or well-priced boot, but unless we have anything else to compare it to, there's really no context to it. And if you're considering buying these boots, I made a video on how to get the correct size of these, because these are notoriously hard to find the right size, and that's why half the time you see people wearing these boots, they look like they're wearing clown shoes because they bought the wrong size. So I made a video solely devoted to finding the correct size for you in this particular boot. And that kind of brings us to the rules of the giveaway. So to win a pair of these, I've got sizes from 8.5 to 11 from that sizing video. And I'm going to give away one pair, unless this video does really well. I might give away a few pairs if this video does really well. All you need to do is, first, be subscribed to the YouTube channel. Second, follow me on Instagram. And then third, go watch this sizing video, figure out what size you are, and in that comment section of the sizing video, leave a comment with what boot size you are and your username for your Instagram so I can message you when you want. And that's all there is to it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you think, and consider subscribing, because that one little teeny click makes all the difference in the world to me and my channel. So thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate it. See ya. Oh wait, Danner Bull Runs are Thursday. That's the next boot. So look out for that one on Thursday. See ya.
Что ты за лох там такой сидит? Жмых, жмых. Лох ко мне относится. Это все не важно, кто к кому как относится, блин. Вообще, да. Что за идиот просто. Ну вот это есть. Ну, все понимаете. Это женщины, вот они должны быть слабые, понимаешь? Не то, что они должны, они так вот, как они сами по себе такие. Безмозглые какие-то, да. Вот поэтому опасно быть мужчиной, да. Не знаю, с мужчиной быть опасно, да. Да, понимаете. Да, понимаете. Охренеть просто вообще. Ладно. Да.
Доброе утро, вы смотрите новости в студии Петр Завьялов. Далее в выпуске. Как поставить прививку от коронавируса тем, кто не может самостоятельно добраться до пункта вакцинации? Допуск к ЕГЭ за итоговое сочинение, о чем и как нужно было писать, чтобы получить зачет. Спасти пострадавших в ДТП за считанные минуты. Спасатели провели масштабные учения на федеральной трассе. Срок действия ПЦР-тестов может быть сокращен до 48 часов. Такое решение готов принять Роспотребнадзор из-за появления нового штамма.
Ну да. Он тебе про себя так и говорит, да. Да, вот против себя уже говорил. Да, нет. Да. Ой, прям вообще, да. Не знаю, то есть, да. Просто, да. Да, слышу, да. Блин, как все интересно. Это татство. Да, вот я просто помню. Ну, не знаю. Ты хочешь... Ну, он про тебя и говорил, жизнь женщины, которая замужняя, как она должна выглядеть? Вот, то есть, что с ней происходит? Замужество она не дает, да? Потом а потом что происходит с ней? Здоровый женский организм, что с ней происходит? Как она, понимаю. Мне не касается это. Ладно, ты как хочешь, короче. Да, проигрался. Народ тогда Ой-ой-ой. Ой-ой. Мало. Мне мало спалось. Да. Так нагажу, так
Коронавируса омикрон. О необходимости соблюдения профилактических мер жителям республики напомнили и в региональном Минздраве. У омикрона скорость распространения и коэффициент заразности выше, чем у дельты, но нет случаев летальности. Впрочем, пока судить об уровне агрессивности нового штамма еще рано, считают специалисты.
Предыдущие штаммы, в принципе, они ведь также, их появление в первые недели не сопровождалось ростом летальности. И первая информация, которая была о дельта-штамме, она была, в принципе, аналогичная, что он высококонтагиозный и имеет высокую скорость распространения. И буквально на второй-третьей неделе, к концу первого месяца его распространения, мы увидели большой взрыв летальности. Поэтому все возможно, что новый штамм, который сейчас появился, мы еще не знаем, как он себя поведет в большой популяции людей.
Специалисты напоминают, сдержать распространение нового штамма поможет соблюдение мер профилактики. Это масочный режим и вакцинация. На сегодня прививку от ковида поставили более 635 тысяч жителей республики. Маломобильные жители Удмуртии могут воспользоваться услугами выездной вакцинации на дому. Такую практику используют почти все больницы региона. Чем удобен такой способ вакцинации для людей с ограниченными возможностями здоровья, расскажет Дмитрий Вороновин.
Откройте, пожалуйста, мы пришли поставить вам прививку.
Дверь врачам долго не открывали, но по уважительной причине хозяин дома, инвалид-колясочник Роман Помыткин, живет один, по дому передвигается с трудом. Посетить прививочный пункт мужчине трудно. Сегодня медики сами приехали к нему и вакцинировали.
У меня не выйти никуда сейчас, у меня на улице сейчас сложно, сейчас зима еще тоже. И транспортом у меня тоже появляется. Надо, конечно, удобно. Мало ли мне надо будет на реабилитацию там в Москву куда-нибудь еще тоже могут пригласить. Ну, как бы это прям нужно.
Так же, как и Роман, свою заявку на вакцинацию на дому, позвонив накануне участковому терапевту, оставил пенсионер Леонид Огородов. Сегодняшнему визиту врачей 80-летний дедушка очень рад.
Многие очень плохо ходят, болят. Естественно, в больницу ходить это самое очень сложно. Я раз в неделю хожу в магазин. Спасибо врачам, что пошли навстречу. И прививку сделали.
Практику выездной вакцинации маломобильного населения врачи городской больницы номер 3 начали еще весной. Таких пациентов, прикрепленных в больнице, около 300 человек.
Да нет,
почти
наоборот,
все они проживают в частном секторе заречной части Ижевска. За полгода вакцинировано уже больше половины из них. Выездная бригада медиков осуществляет объезд домов раз в неделю.
Они сами инициативу приняли. То, пожалуйста, на любой клинический телефон обратиться. Мы записываем фамилию, контактный номер телефона. И, в общем-то, потом накануне сообщаем, что ждите нас, пожалуйста, такое-то время, в такой-то день.
Им очень удобно, что сейчас появилась вот такое, что можно вызвать на дом врача. Не только ведь мы прививками занимаемся, мы можем у них взять анализы на дому, сделать кардиограмму, потому что им предстоит, предположим, какое-то стационарное лечение или реабилитация, или нам нужно уточнить диагноз.
Кстати, выездная вакцинация маломобильных граждан на дому – это практика большинства больниц Удмуртии. С начала этого года таким образом привито от коронавируса около 1000 жителей региона. Дмитрий Вороновин, Юрий Дроздов, новости.
Добиться пересмотра кадастровой оценки недвижимости, от которой зависит размер налога, жителям республики станет проще. Ранее это можно было сделать, как правило, только через суд. Теперь можно напрямую обратиться к специалистам ВТИ. Они получили право устанавливать кадастровую стоимость в размере рыночной. Срок исполнения составит всего 30 дней.
Мы начинаем принимать заявления с отчетами об установлении